What's up, Dodgers Nation? Welcome to another episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. Everything you need to know about your boys in blue in less than an hour. My name is Doug McKain, credential member of Dodgers Media. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. And if you haven't yet, be sure to subscribe to the Dodgers Nation YouTube channel and comment "Go Tawny" down below. So I promise you guys another giveaway. And I pulled some strings. And our next giveaway is actually before the 95K Go Tawny. We are giving away a jersey at $94,000. Once we hit 94K, we are giving away the jersey of the player that the Dodgers trade for. So the Dodgers, they're probably going to be active. Let's be honest. They're going to get someone. Whoever that is, you'll win that jersey. All you have to do to be eligible for that giveaway is comment "Let Friedman cook." Andrew Friedman, Dodgers president of baseball operations. Let Friedman cook down below in the comments section. And also, today's episode of Dodgers Dugout Live is brought to you by Bet Online. Bet Online is your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season, from baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the top fights in the UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, BLEAV, for your 50% off free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. So yesterday we got a really nice nugget from Mark Feinsand, and we're going to get into that right now for the leadoff. So MLB.com's Mark Feinsand is reporting that the Dodgers are in on Randy Arozarena, and that a executive from another team said he'd be a nice fit. So it's definitely important to point out that this is an executive from another team and not the Dodgers. But as far as the Dodgers rumor meter, I'm going to give this one a 3.5 Dodger dogs. I think there's more than just some smoke between the Dodgers and the Rays when it comes to Randy Arozarena, and I'll tell you why. Well, first and foremost, the Dodgers need an outfielder. They need someone like a Randy Arozarena that can be an impact bat, and he's under team control for multiple seasons. So first reason, they need an impact outfield bat, and he certainly can be just that. And yes, Randy Arozarena did get off to a slow start this season. Yes, he was hitting under 200 for the first couple of months of the season, but then since June 1st, he really has found his swing. He's found his swing since June 1st, and last couple of months, he's slashing 286, 392 with a 514 clip. I mean, that 514 slugging percentage in the last couple months, and he's striking out at a lesser amount, at a lesser clip than he has for his entire career. And we're talking about 166 plate appearances. 166 plate appearances there, and it was an awful spring training. But talk to people that cover the team in Tampa Bay, and one thing they told me was that when it comes to his body composition, he was heavier. He bulked up in the offseason. He put on some weight, and it was about adjusting to that swing, adjusting to the different body type. And look, last couple of months, he has really started to put it all together. He has been a top 20 to 30 bat in Major League Baseball in the last couple of months of the season. So one, he's hot right now. He's been consistent for more than a month. Two, I think with Randy, you look at the fact that he's someone that has 2 more years of arbitration left. And with those 2 arbitration years, you're able to bring him in. He was set to make $8.1 million this year. And then he's owed around $3 million for the rest of the season. And then you get him for a couple more seasons. And that's what the Dodgers need. You need outfielders that are going to take over these spots, not just for this postseason run, which you love. And we'll get into what that means. But you also need to be thinking long term. And the fact that there's really no outfielders out there that you really love as far as being perfect fits for this team. Guys like Juan Soto, they're going to go for $1 bajillion, right? Conforto, I mean, names like this, they're not really linked to the Dodgers. So, yes, he could get it done this year, and then he could be your left fielder for the next couple of seasons. And yes, he is not a great defender, does not have a strong arm, but you don't trade for Randy Arozarena because of what he can do in the outfield with the glove. You do what he can do at the plate with the stick, and specifically what it does in the postseason. Because I think that the goalpost kind of has been moved for some of these doomers out there that don't think that Randy Arozarena would be an impact bat. I see people out there every time someone suggests the idea of trading for Randy Arozarena. First thing I see is this. Oh, great. Another 200 hitter in the bottom of the lineup. How's that going to help? Well, one, I just told you he hasn't been a 200 hitter for a couple months now. Gave you the numbers a few seconds ago, hitting 286 since the beginning of June. Now, before June, he was hitting 158. So he's gone from 158 to 286. The on base, 257 to 392. The slug, 312 to 514. But last time I checked, this is a Dodgers team that isn't worried about the first couple of months of the season when a player is adjusting to bulking up in the offseason. This is a team that wants postseason dogs. This is a team that wants impact bats that have a history of getting it done on the big stage. He has an 1104 postseason OPS. An 1104 postseason OPS. And yes, relative to your career, and relative to 585 regular season games, that is small. But it's not that small. It's not that small compared to some players that only play one series, two series. Looking at you, Mike Trout, right? You look at him, 33 games in the postseason, 128 plate appearances, and he's clubbed 11 home runs with 5 doubles, hitting 336 with 1104 OPS. So don't tell me about the first 2 months of the season that all Dodgers fans have told me are meaningless at this point. It's all about October. This is someone that produces at the plate in October when it matters most. And I think another thing you want to consider as well is the fact that you're injecting him into a lineup where he's not going to be batting second, where he's not going to be batting third. He's not going to be responsible for being the team's best 1, 2, or 3 hitter. That's not going to be his role on this team. If you look at Randy Arozarena this season, most of his plate appearances have come either batting second or third. 135 plate appearances in the 2-hole, 136 batting third. Has also hit in the cleanup spot, and he's bat fifth, but he's used to batting at the top of that lineup. It would not be the case on this team. On this team, we know what the top of the lineup looks like. You got Mookie, you got Shohei, you got Freddie and Will Smith and Teoscar. If Max Muncy comes back, he'll be in there as well. He'd be batting 6th or 7th. And then you have an emerging Gavin Lux. You have a Jason Hayward, who I think if they traded for Randy, he would be thrusted into that 4th outfielder role. And just look at your corner outfielders. You have a Andy Pages as your center fielder, and then you put Teoscar Hernandez, who has a stronger arm than Randy, in right, and you have Randy Arozarena in left. That is big vibes, big skill, postseason dogs, guys that aren't afraid of the big moment. And I think it makes all the sense in the world if you can't pull off a deal with those Chicago White Sox to get Luis Robert Jr. So we'll talk more about that. We'll also throw out some trades. But first and foremost, I got to break in and welcome super producer Antonio, Tony Taters, to the show. He's been big on Randy Arozarena. I'm going to do the Randy Arozarena backstory maybe tomorrow because it's fascinating. I mean, this is someone that was borrowing the cleats of his teammates, and he was making $4 a month.
Humble beginnings.
I mean, humble beginnings to say the least. And to look at where he is now, look, you think hitting a ball in the World Series is pressure? No, pressure is when you're making $4 a month and you're worried about where you're going to eat, what you're going to wear, and where you're going to sleep. So don't tell me that means nothing. I mean, I know that, Noel, you would love to see Randy Arozarena in Dodger Blue. Just what would that do for you professionally as a guy who runs Instagram?
I mean, it would do a lot. I mean, just that first game alone, getting welcomed into Dodger Stadium, hitting his signature pose, connecting with the fan base. You know, a lot of what makes a baseball team successful is like the off the field stories, how they connect with the fans, how they show love to the city, how much it means for them to actually put on a jersey that says Dodgers across the chest and represent something bigger than yourself. And I really like that you're going to talk about his backstory tomorrow, because like you said, pressure isn't playing the game you love. Pressure is trying to make it for your family, trying to make it for your last name. And when I see Randy play, how he represented Mexico in the WBC, that is something that you really want on this team.
There's no doubt about it. And well said, as always, fire take from Mr. Noise by Noel. And I think that you factor all that in, and then you look at, this team, you need that excitement. You need someone to kind of keep things loose, and you got that now this year. You have Teoscar, you have Kike, you have Randy Arozarena. You had Kike at the end of last season, but I think Kike's back. He's transitioned back to being a Dodger. He's comfortable. He knows his role. Now, what would it cost to get Arozarena? Now, it depends. If it's just a Randy and that's all you're getting, well, I think you could be looking at a deal. Dodgers get Randy Arozarena, and the Rays, they're going to be looking for some pitching talent, maybe a shortstop as well, maybe some position players, but mainly you're looking for pitchers that you can develop, and they do that with the best of them. And you look at his value on baseball trade values. I know you got to take that with a grain of salt, but still, I mean, he's at 7.3 on his surplus, and you look at who they could get, right? The Rays could, I think, pull off a trade to get Jackson Ferris, who the Dodgers acquired in the Michael Busch trade to the Chicago Cubs, Peter Hubeck, and Noah Miller. Packages like that, where it's a minor overpay, but you're overpaying because you have suitors for Randy Arozarena. Teams that need corner outfielders that have the potential to be impact bats, they're going to go after Randy Arozarena. Teams like the Phillies, teams like the Mariners. So that would be one way of getting him, that tier of prospects. We're not talking Dalton Rushing and DePaula and these top level prospects. That's not the case here. We're talking about higher upside prospects, younger prospects, not the top 10 guys. For me, looking at the way this Dodgers team does things and the transactions they make, they're going to try to include multiple players. Typically, you saw what they did last season with the White Sox, bringing over Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly. You saw what they did in 2021, bringing in Max Scherzer and Trey Turner. And we've seen this team do deals that include multiple players, especially at a time where there are so many teams that are interested in players as well. So the Dodgers absolutely, I think, need to add another arm. Tanner Scott, he's the top choice. Mason Miller, quite frankly, would be the top choice. But for me, I think that when it comes to where he is right now, it's difficult to see that trade going down. I mean, if the Dodgers were willing to go in on Mason Miller, knowing that he could help them this year and potentially maybe transition back to being a starting pitcher, which the A's have indicated they're going to try in 2025, that definitely changes the conversation. But with this current scenario, I think you go Randy Arozarena and a Pete Fairbanks. Pete Fairbanks, another fireballer, can get up there. Not having his best year. Strikeouts are down. Hasn't been effective. Still, though, the Dodgers could benefit from a Pete Fairbanks if you look at how Evan Phillips has pitched and just the questions with this bullpen. They're going to have to add one more high-leverage arm in that bullpen, and you could see a deal like this. Dodgers get Randy Arozarena and Pete Fairbanks, and the Rays get Peter Hubeck, Jackson Ferris, and Tyrone Lorenzo. Deals like that, not your top Dodgers. Alexander Rose says, is Randy a Dodger yet? I'm waiting, D-Mac. Hey, Randy Wood coming back to LA. That'll be my t-shirt design, the Randy Wood. I'll do Randy Wood, and I'll have Arozarena doing the pose. You guys can buy that at gearup.la when we make it. We got to make the Dodgers great again. Arozarena can't play center field. So, John, you bring up a great point, but let me get your takes. I want to hear what you guys have to say about Randy Arozarena. Do you want to see him in Dodger blue? Makes sense. Makes all the sense. We've talked about this, and like I said, it's such an easy transition into what they would do with them and how the outfield picture would look. Teoscar can handle right field. He can get it done in that corner outfield spot. He's their everyday player. Pages, who, like Casey Porter said yesterday, Casey Porter thinks that he's best fit in right field instead of center field. So is that a short-term solution or is it long-term, or does that change? Maybe it does, but at least for this season, having Andy Pages in center field, maybe that could be a concern to some, just because the fact that it's a rookie in a position that's going to definitely get some opportunities to make or miss plays in the postseason. Maybe you're a little concerned, but Pages, he has been an above average center fielder for the most part. And it really depends on his bat too. He's been slumping a little bit of late, or does Jason Hayward get some time in center field? But look, Andy Pages has been average at center field. He would be an above average right field, and you put Randy Arozarena in right field. So everything is pointed to, if they were to trade for a player, it's going to be an outfielder that makes sense. Randy makes sense because I think that in this case, it's better to try to trade for a player that's under more years of team control than getting a straight rental like we've seen in the past, right? This makes sense to go out there and secure guys, especially when you consider the fact that this team is in the highest threshold in the Cohen tax territory, where you're having to pay 110% of the surcharge of whatever contract you get in return. So anytime you can get guys on deals where either it's arbitration year deals and still going to pay him a pretty penny, right? He's going to get a raise from $8 million, but this is an all-star caliber hitter. It truly is. But if I had to pick between Luis Robert Jr. and Randy Arozarena, hate to say it, I'll probably duck. I have to duck here. I'd take Luis Robert Jr. And I wouldn't even think about it. And the truth of the matter is, it starts with the fact that he's a center fielder. So his defense for Luis Robert Jr., he is a better center fielder than he is a right fielder. He's a better center fielder than he is a right fielder, and he would play that position. And that's really the biggest hole that the Dodgers have, right? So you look at Luis Robert Jr. and his defensive metrics. He's in the 80th percentile in outs above average already. That's two outs above average. The arm strength in the 65th percentile, 88th percentile in sprint speed. So when it comes to defense, there is no comparison between Luis Robert Jr. and Randy Arozarena. Luis Robert Jr. is the superior defender, and he plays at a premium position. So you could have Luis Robert Jr. play center field, and then you could have Teoscar in right, and then you have Andy Pages in left. I think Andy Pages, most likely, there's no question about it, is going to be better served at one of the corner outfield spots, and then you can focus more on that offense. But I would love Randy. Trust me, I would love Randy Arozarena. I would lose my mind. I'd be doing cartwheels down 1000 Vince Scully Avenue if they got Randy Arozarena. It would be Randy Wood. We got Mike, who says this, Doug has officially gone crazy. Hey, I'm just telling you that, look, who do you put in center field? You guys comfortable with a Randy Arozarena in left and Pages or Outman in center moving forward? That's for a World Series all-in team. That's kind of a tough ask. But it's not, this is nothing disparaging against Randy. I love Randy. Trust me, I truly do. But I think that for some weird reason, Luis Robert Jr. has become overrated and undervalued at this point, even though he puts up numbers where you could say there's a universe where Luis Robert Jr. could finish top 3 to 5 in the MVP voting. I mean, you look at last season, he had 38 home runs. Yes, it was the only time that he played over 100 games. But look, the White Sox really should have traded him after last season, for being honest. That's when his value was very high, and we weren't worrying about the early struggles this season. But this year, he's up to a 111 weighted runs created plus, 11 home runs, 23 RBI, strikes out a ton at 33.5%. But if you look at some of the underlying stuff with Luis Robert Jr., you see what makes him so enticing and why his upside is so high. And that is just the pure fact that this is a guy that, when it comes to bat speed, you need bat speed in the postseason. You're not facing the opposing team's number 4 or 5 starter or middling bullpen pieces. You're facing their best arms. And the best arms usually mean the highest velocity. And his bat speed at 75.2%, I mean, that's 75.2. That's one of the highest. as far as percentile rankings, barrel percentage, 14.9%, average exit velocity. So there's a lot of things when it comes to hard hit metrics that really point to Luis Robert Jr. being an impact bat. He's also 26 years old, and he's under contract for the rest of this season and then 3 more years when you factor in the club control options there as well. But let me know down below in the comment section, Luis Robert Jr. or Randy Arozarena. I think for me, I love them both, but other thing you factor in too is if you get both these guys, well, where's the ace? Where's the impact arm? Where's that frontline guy that you want as well? And if getting Arozarena precludes them from pulling off a deal that includes Robert Jr. and a Garrett Crochet, then you have to factor that as well, because the most important thing is Garrett Crochet at the top. We got Hulk, Smash Yo Mom, $4.99. Get Randy, get Crochet, get a back and bullpen guy, and let's effing roll. Chips over prospects. That is a fire take. Love that attitude right there. We got Randy is the key to a 2024 banner. Malachi, look, I want Randy Arozarena. Trust me, I 100% do. I've been talking about this show for months now. But if you look at the big picture, they need Crochet. They need that frontline ace level arm that you can trust as well. Now, the other name too is Isaac Paredes, the third base situation. Isaac Paredes is someone that could absolutely help this team in a big way. And it's a position of need at this point just because Max Muncy is dealing with the oblique injury. There's no guarantee that he's going to return and find that swing like we saw early in the season when he was on pace for 36 home runs. Paredes is a player that the Rays could trade. It's not a guarantee that they are, but there is interest. That's been reported. And the thing about Paredes is $3.4 million salary. So you have 3 more years of team control. This season, he's hitting .250, slugging .445. He's got defensive versatility. He's even played 50 innings at shortstop at the big league level. So if you need your emergency shortstop, he could for sure be that guy. And it's going to be about prospect cost for him, though. And teams like the Yankees, teams like the Dodgers, Mariners, I mean, those are teams that definitely could use an Isaac Paredes. I mean, any guy who's that good, that's that productive and is controllable through 2027. I mean, he's going to take home around $10 million in arbitration next season. The Rays don't need to move him, but the Rays are always listening. The Rays is a situation where you call them up and it's, oh, we're answering this. Doesn't matter what area code it is. There doesn't matter what player it's for. This house is always for sale. It's just about the price. Name your price. That is the Rays mindset. And also on top of that, the Rays, they have Junior Caminero. And he's a top 5 prospect. Junior Caminero is a guy that the Rays are trying to get in there as soon as they can to develop him, to see if he can be that star, to help get them to that next generation. Because the whole Wander Franco thing just really threw a wrench in their plan down in Tampa Bay. So, yeah, Paredes, I'm not all in on the idea just because I think at that point it's such a luxury. And you just have to hope that Max Muncy is going to be back. And then really it comes down to 3 things. The ultimate plan for the Dodgers, the ultimate deadline plan. Andrew Friedman, if you're watching this, you can just take notes and then take the rest of the day off. No, of course, Andrew Friedman's already on top of all this. And those guys, they're on other levels of 4D chess, and they're already putting in the work in to get the best deals done for your Los Angeles Dodgers. But you need an ace. You need a frontline starter. You need either Crochet or Skubal. That's step 1. Step 2, you need an impact outfield bat. Luis Robert Jr. or Randy Arozarena. If you want to go down to a Brent Rooker, guys like that, I'm fine with it, but those are the top 2. Robert Jr. and Arozarena. And third, Tanner Scott as a reliever, Fairbanks as a reliever. You need 3 different positions. Starting pitcher, outfielder, and bullpen piece. As long as they check off all those boxes, the Dodgers will get an A at the deadline, an A+++ if you're able to get either Crochet or Skubal. But Monty says Randy Paredes for Jackson Ferris, Trey Sweeney, Cartaya, and Jose Ramos. I like that. I like that idea. I appreciate all the ideas. Mr. Classic says Javi Baez is historically better than Gavin Lux. Hey, Lux he's on a roll right now. Gavin Lux is just hitting at a above average level. The slug is up. He's continue to produce, and we'll see if this is sustainable. It feels like it is, though. It definitely feels like, at the very least, you're going to get a league average-ish Gavin Lux. And that's what you're hoping for Luxy, is just raising that floor, and then just trying to pursue the highest ceiling possible. But Ken Paredes played third. That's from EG. Absolutely. Cubs lost to the Brewers. That's so the Cubs. Hey, the thing about the Cubs, Dave Vassay, he said on his show, Dodger Talk on AM 570, the great Dodger Talk, that the Cubs, I think, were interested in dealing guys like Ian Happ. And Ian Happ is someone who, he could definitely help this team in a lot of different ways. He fits that bill as far as someone that can go out there and produce in the corner outfield spot. But let me know down below in the comment section, what is your dream Dodgers trade deadline? What do the Dodgers need to do to get an A from you? What do the Dodgers need to do to get an A from you at the deadline? We'll go to you, Antonio. What do they got to do?
Definitely got to get Garrett Crochet 100%. I would rather see Randy Arozarena, to be honest. Randy. And you know what? Even with Isaac Paredes, two of Team Mexico's finest, let's not forget Isaac. He got that home run started for comeback against Team Puerto Rico last WBC. But yeah, Garrett Crochet. And I love Randy too, but it makes more sense to bring Luis Robert too, or Jr. in center field. So I still love you, Randy, but it's going to be Luis Robert Jr. and Garrett Crochet for me.
There you go. And how about the bullpen, though? You got to add an arm there, because, I mean, Evan Phillips,
it would have been
yesterday, he did have the walk. He was able to finish the job. But I actually have a lot of confidence that Evan Phillips is going to be fine. I think last night you saw an increased use and a commitment to that fastball, which I think is the biggest key to his success, because the sweeper, the cutter, great pitches for him. The sweeper against righties to get that chase out of the zone, the cutter to induce soft contact. That's why he is one of the best top 10 to 20 relievers when he's on, but it all has to play off that fastball. But you don't think they need another reliever?
Be actually perfect. It would be a deal with Randy Arozarena with Pete Fairbanks. That would be a dream come true too.
Fairbanks.
So that would solve that problem. But starting pitching is the number one thing for me. So Garrett Crochet, por favor, please.
It is. And deadline deals can put you over the top. We saw with Justin Verlander. We saw, Cueto and the Royals in 2015, right? And there's your Cueto. There's your Johnny Cueto right there.
Cueto, dude.
Relievers. Daniel Hudson, we talk about him a lot on this show, what he did for the Nationals in 2019, getting that final out. It re-energizes not just the fan base, but I think the clubhouse too. Yes. Because it puts confidence in the current roster, knowing that, hey, the guys who are here, we feel strongly that you are the players to get us over the top. And we want to reinforce this roster because we are all in. And this is the thing, the Dodgers, they got the greenbacks, man. They got the cash. There's not a lot of teams that have the resources that the Dodgers have, that are making the kind of money that the Dodgers have. So you have to take full advantage of this and make this your dynasty, make this your era of contention. Because the crazy thing for me is, what if there is not a ton of movement just because of how many buyers there are and how little sellers there are? Could that be the case? I was looking it up, and right now, if you go on Fangraphs, for the amount of teams that have a 5% chance of making the playoffs or less, that's 7. Only 7 teams are there. In 2019, it was 14 teams already. So literally, back in 2019, you had 14 teams at this point of the season that had a 5% chance of making the playoffs. This year, that number is cut in half. So you have half the amount of sellers in that stretch. So that's good for a team like the White Sox, who the White Sox are the weirdest team ever, right, guys? They're like 27-75, and you're like, oh, I want this guy for the White Sox, I want that guy for the White Sox, I want that guy for the White Sox, and they're all crappy. It's like the most top-heavy roster that you've ever seen, because you have Crochet, you got Fetty, you have an ace, a Cy Young caliber starting pitcher, and a solid second starter. You got Kopech, who I think, to me, the big move ultimately should be Crochet, Kopech, Luis Robert Jr. And it goes Crochet, Luis Robert Jr., and Kopech. Because the thing about Kopech is people say, oh, when he's good, he's great. When he's bad, he's awful. But that's what the Dodgers thrive on, is high ceiling guys that might have a low floor at the moment, but they can take right in the middle and optimize them to get them to the top. Because the Dodgers know they can teach you execution. They can teach you ways to find the zone and different attack plans as far as your pitch mix goes and how to face hitters a little differently. What they can't teach you, and Noah Syndergaard knows this, is that they can't teach you a 98, a 99, 100-mile-per-hour fastball. You're born with that. You can't learn that. And Kopech, he's got gas, man. He really does. He has got a high-velocity heater that is going to play up for some team if he gets dealt. His four-seam fastball averages 98.7 miles per hour, and he goes with it 79.4% of the time. So I'm pretty sure the Dodgers team will increase the slider usage and the cutter usage, and you'll see a little more of balanced usage with that four-seam fastball. So if they go at Kopech, I mean, he's in the 99th percentile in fastball velo, also the 90th percentile in expected batting average, 204, 92nd percentile in strikeout rate at 30.6%. So give me that trade. That's the big trade, and we really don't need to do that many other deals. And by the way, other teams see these kind of shows from Dodgers fans, and they throw up because we look like the most spoiled little brats, right? It's like we have a PS5, but we want an Xbox. Right? We have everything and we want more. We are just, it's the Kylo Ren, the more. That is Dodgers fans. We are never satisfied. We are never full. And that's just because this team has the resources. I mean, why not get more if you can afford it, right? The Dodgers can't afford it. And they know with this championship window, you need more guys. David Ginzo says, Mr. Classic says, we are spoiled. Who cares? We need to win. It's the truth. It's the truth, man. I'd rather be spoiled than the opposite, right? 5 games left and counting. That's from Bilal K. How about the Dodgers on a 5-game winning streak, 20 games above 500, 8.5 games above the San Diego Padres? Got a super chat from Ryan Montez. Dodgers dream deadline for me, Crochet, Arozarena, and Scott. That'd be fantastic. I think Scott, it's the thing about Scott that makes it a little challenging, I think, for the Dodgers is that you need that starting pitcher first and foremost. And the truth of the matter is a guy like Michael Kopech can help you from that standpoint, and you're getting Ryan Brazier back, and you're getting Brusdar Graterol back. And you definitely have pieces in this bullpen where if they're healthy, they're definitely going to be good. And then Crochet is a guy that you can use out of the bullpen too in spots as well. So let's not forget that, the versatility of him. So when you look at that from that standpoint, the Tanner Scott situation is interesting because as of right now, it doesn't feel like there's anyone other than Tanner Scott that makes a ton of sense for the Dodgers. So do you see them just doing a 1-for-1 type deal, a 3-for-1 type deal, and Tanner Scott is your guy? I think it's more so, okay, let's focus on getting the value with the White Sox and getting the 3 guys that all can play varying roles. And I think with a Tanner Scott, the Yankees, the Orioles, lots of competition. So you're going to have to overpay for a reliever, especially too. I know that people look at Alex Vesia and they still don't trust him, but what more does the guy need to do, man? What more does Alex Vesia need to do? He goes out there and he puts up zeros and he strikes guys out. A 34.1 strikeout rate for Alex Vesia. 34.5 now after last night. A 34.5 strikeout rate for Alex Vesia. Opponents this season are hitting 137. 137 on Vesia. The FIP is a little high, but still. I mean, in comparison to his ERA, though. I mean, the ERA where he's at right now and what he's able to accomplish with that. I mean, a 141 ERA in 44 games this season, 44 in 2/3 innings. So, yes, BC Vesia did make it a little interesting, and I do think that he has been dependable and he's pitched a lot of innings, and we saw last season he had to go down to AAA to kind of find it. But Alex Vesia is certainly a pitcher that can help this team in a massive, massive way, and you have that lefty. So I think it really depends on, do you trust Alex Vesia in the postseason in a big spot? Has he shown you enough this season with his growth? Yesterday, he gave up a hit. He had 2 walks. It definitely was interesting, as BC points out. But the truth is with Vesia, I mean, if he's elevating that fastball, if he is just sound with his mechanics and it's downhill, the life on that heater and his ability to attack hitters with that back foot slider at times too. I mean, I like the simplified pitch mix, because most bullpen guys, you're not going to see 4 or 5 pitches, right? Most bullpen guys are really 2-pitch pitchers to begin with. But he walked Chapman on 7 pitches. He was missing with the 4-seamer up. And he was kind of yanking it too, kind of pulling it a little bit as well. And then we walk Conforto. That was all 4-seamers up. So when his mechanics get out of whack a little bit, he's missing up in the zone. And he gives the single to Fitzgerald. That was a 4-seamer that he kind of left out over the plate. So really just got to hope that he's gelling at the right time. And he's just shown a lot this season. The mechanics have been such a consistent effort. So it's definitely pretty awesome. But David Ginzo, Villa has a Kershaw fastball at 91 miles per hour. How will that play in the playoffs? So that's the thing. You need gassers, and he can touch 93. Preferably, you go out there and you get a Tanner Scott, but they don't necessarily look at matchups like that for this team as far as, oh, we got to get the lefty to get the lefty. You look at guys like Blake Trinan, since he's been a Dodger, has been good against left-handed hitters. Ryan Brazier, Brusdar Graterol. I mean, they've had success against right and left. So it's not as simple as, oh, we got to get the lefty to play that matchup. They just want really good relievers they can trust in big spots that you can trust in any count. So I don't think it's something where you're overly concerned about that. But let's get some more comments here. Please hold $5. Imagine Trey Turner in a white tank top and no teeth. That's the most Florida man ever. That's the most random comment ever, but you're going to get a bruh. Echo, when you pay, we got to read it, man. So Echo 5 Papa, who would be involved in Randy's trade? We talked about that earlier. It really just depends on how big you want to go. I mean, if it's an Isaac Paredes and Randy Arozarena, considering how affordable he is and the fact that he's under team control through 2027 as well, and for Randy it's through 2026. Yeah, then you're talking the DePaulas and the top prospects. But if it's just Randy and maybe a Pete Fairbanks, I threw out my trade earlier, they could use a catching prospect. I think guys like Jackson Ferris and Tyrone Lorenzo and Peter Hubeck, kind of that kind of tier, the Noah Miller types, Sweeney, those types, that could be in the mix for a Randy, because he's a great player when he's right, and he's an impact bat at the plate, negative defense, and did have a down 2 months. So I think the best thing for the Dodgers is the fact that the Rays, they're not in the National League, right? I mean, the National League, there's so many teams that are bunched up there that are vying for wild card spots. And when it comes to where the American League is, it's not the same. And it's doubtful they're going to make a push. Get Jazz, that's from ZX Rexy Z. Look, I read a report today where the Yankees said they weren't all in on Jazz because they didn't necessarily like the clubhouse fit. So any big news with Garrett Crochet? The news is, as Jeff Passan talked about in the ESPN Plus article, the Dodgers are all in. Ricky Vasquez, D-Mac, if we get a Arozarena, we need a shoey, baby. I got you. You know what, man? The sombrero. I'm going to do a shoey in one of his cowboy boots. Randy Wood with those cowboy boots. I'll do a shoey in that, maybe the sombrero. Teo, 4 years, $100 million extension. Cole, who says no? No one on this show. You know how we feel about Teoscar Hernandez. Having said that, and hey, next time Andrew Friedman's available, I just want to ask him a very simple question. Have you had extension talks with Teoscar Hernandez? Because this is the rare situation where you have the player himself on multiple occasions making it pretty clear that he wants to be here. Making it pretty clear that it's a great fit for him and Shohei Ohtani and this Dodgers organization. He makes the all-star team. He wins the home run derby. He knows he's eating good in LA, and I think he thrives on the big moments, and he wants to be that guy for this team. So I would not be shocked to see him getting a deal done, but you can't guaranteeing you can't plan for it. I'd rather be ahead on the planning for sure. We got Friendly. D-Mac, what up? Watching your live stream on my lunch break, going to tonight's game. Hope to see you there. Let's go Dodgers. We'll give you a let's go Dodgers right there. Teo then defers $50 million. Yeah, that's the thing too. Teo's a guy who's already deferred $8 million, right? So he's in on the deferment thing, the Los Angeles deferrals, as people like to call them. So that certainly is relevant because that's how the Dodgers get a lot of deals done, right? Mookie deferred tons of money. Freddie's deferred money. You have deferred money with Teoscar Hernandez and Shohei Ohtani. And all that is to say that those players, they want to be in this organization and still get their bag, right? Their life's not going to be changing that much, right? I mean, they're not going to have to move or do anything like that. We got Roy Estrada, 1999. My man, D-Mac, use this to go live as soon as the Dodgers make trades. Love all Dodgers fans. Go blue. Yeah. What up, Roy Estrada? You know we'll be live anytime something goes down. We for sure will. JC Carrera, D-Mac Arozarena is all we need and get healthy. Teoscar all day. Deferred money is the way to go if peeps want to be a Dodger. For sure. I mean, it's like, hey, we'll hold your money. You know, it's like when your parents, you know, when your grandma gives you a check, right, for your birthday, and you get that check, and then your mom says, I'll hold it for you. And let me know when you want to spend it. And then you're like, whatever happened to that? And then she gives it to you one day. So yeah, it's smart. It's smart business for sure. But guys, let's do some more comments here. Delirium 9, does acquiring Arozarena adversely affect our chances in extending Teoscar Hernandez? Not necessarily, just because Arozarena, he's not a rental and he's a guy who's under he's a player that's under 2 more years of team control. So you would take advantage of that. Yes, that does increase the payroll, but you're already up past that anyway. So they know they have to spend some money, and you're most likely not going to be paying Walker Buehler. There was a time when that felt like that was a lock, and you're not going to have to go out there and get a massive starting pitcher as well if you get Crochet. It's another thing too, I want to point out, Crochet making $800,000 this year. That's going to go up, but that's not a $30, $40, $50 million contract, right? You're not having to pay him elite starting pitching money, so you save from that standpoint. It's another reason why the prospect capital cost is going to be so high for a guy like Garrett Crochet, just because of how much he's getting paid. We got to beat those Giants again. That's from Craig Osterberg, Curl Johnson, Scooble Arozarena, and Scott possibly Paredes. Bueller said his hip was bothering him. That's from Mr. Classic. Let's get some more here. Got Gonsolin is gone. Tanner Scott now. Who knows how Bazooka will pitch when he returns? I mean, there's big ifs about all these players. Let's be honest. There's big ifs about all these players, and you just have to hope for the best. You have to hope that you are not going to put yourself in a position where you're having to rely on all those guys. So that kind of is the big fear, but it's baseball, man. That is part of the territory at this point. Some more here. You got Arozarena, Flaherty, Tanner Scott, and call it a deadline. Yeah, we're actually going to do a quick rapid fire tomorrow of dropping a video on just every single player they might get. We talked about Jack Flaherty a good amount on this show. I think the thing about Flaherty is he's someone that if everyone's healthy, is he that high impact guy? And Brandon Gomes already said they want high impact arms. So I'm not so sure that is the case. But we get to Cole. Maybe they do like Glass now and get contract extension for Randy before he comes over. Yeah, if I'm the Dodgers with Garrett Crochet, I'm actually trading for him and then trying to get an extension done, just like they did with Tyler Glass now. You know why? Because if he's all paid and he's not worried about his contract, I think he's worried about getting injured again. He's not. He's going to go out there and empty the tank for you. He's going to go out there and empty the tank knowing that he doesn't have to worry about that. I mean, look at the Brewers and the Josh Hader rules a couple years ago where Hader was just closing games because he hadn't got paid yet and he was limiting his time. So, yeah, I think for a guy like a Garrett Crochet, I would certainly entertain a deal like that. Some more super chats down below in the comments section. We got Knack is a pure rock. Yeah, I love Landon Knack, man. I mean, this is just a professional, just great pitcher for any organization that goes out there, understands his role, and puts up zeros, man. Puts up zeros. You gotta love that right there. We got let Friedman cook. A lot of people saying beat the Giants. How about how's the Giants hate been over on the X, on the Instagram? It's always a fiery series. It's kind of crazy. It's the only time we're going to see it.
No,
now.
facts. It's been pretty fiery. Everybody's been pretty active. I was telling Tony that this whole like week and a half is going to be pretty active. That the fans are going to be pretty toxic because got the Giants, got the Astros, you got the Padres. So it's kind of like a triple threat. But fans have been coming. Hopefully we complete that sweep. We got Glass now today. We got Kershaw tomorrow. So it's going to be crazy. What do you think, Doug?
It's definitely crazy. It's definitely crazy when you look at just this team and this organization and the fact that it doesn't matter what their record is. It doesn't matter who's on that team. If they're in the orange and black and it's the Dodger blue, you saw last night, it looked like the game was over and it was a late rally.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my goodness, this team is trying to either ruin the other team's season or just make things interesting. I mean, I just love that. I think it's one of the few, I'm always kind of, when it comes to pro sports rivalries, I'm always like, it's kind of the whole Jerry Seinfeld bit where we're rooting for laundry, right? Like I think college, Michigan, Ohio State, USC, UCLA, Duke, North Carolina. I mean, rarely going to see a guy transfer and Kobe Johnson shout out, but but it's rare, right? It feels like that's your team.
Wait, so rank those three rivalries for the Dodgers: Giants, Astros, Padres.
I mean, for me, I would have Dodgers, Giants in its own tier, right? Not even in its own tier. After that, I think historically, it's Dodgers, Yankees. It truly is. I mean, they're the flagship franchise. And the East Coast Dodgers, they're the flagship franchise. And the West Coast, in the history, 11 matchups in the World Series. The Dodgers, 3-7 in those, 3-8 in those matchups.
Always good times.
So, yeah, I mean, that's definitely a concern. But still, after that, I got the Cardinals because of just the moments, of course, which I won't mention any names. But, the Cardinals is always scary. And then I think Padres is, I wouldn't consider a rivalry necessary. It's little brother, big brother type stuff. But it's still, I mean, it's growing. And anyone who doesn't think that there's no juice there, there's definitely juice there. So
what about the Astros?
Astros, it's not even a rivalry. Rivalry, there's respect, right?
Respect, right?
There's hate, like just we hate you. Like we don't like you. Like you're not the Joker to our Batman. It's like, no, you stole something from us. That's the only reason why we're rivals. It's not like, oh, there's this long history of this and that in games. So we got some more right here. Dodgers collecting players like Thanos collecting the Infinity Stones. I like that. We got the Dodgers, Yankees like Celtics, Lakers. Yeah, always great to beat Boston for sure. We got is let Friedman cook. Knack is a bulldog. Absolutely. He absolutely is a bulldog. We got Tom Stevenson. Oh no, Tom Stevenson. How many players have played for the Dodgers and the Giants? We got another one of those.
There it is. Let's go, D-Mac.
Who do we got? Well, you got Oral Hershiser, AJ Pollock, Jeff Kent,
Marquise Grissom,
Sergio Romo.
Let me see.
Dusty Baker, Legends of Dodger Baseball, Dusty Baker,
Juan Uribe,
Jason Schmidt. Oh gosh, the pirate Jason Schmidt, Brett Tomko, Tyler Anderson, Brad Penny.
Did he play for the Giants? I'm thinking that too.
He did. Juan Marichal.
How
about Shelby Miller?
How about Steve Finley?
Brett Butler.
Brett Butler's a good one. Oh man.
Charlie Culberson. Kenny Lofton, one of my favorite players of all time. Who else?
Jackie Robinson almost did that.
Duke Snyder. Duke Snyder did play for the Giants.
No.
He did play for the Giants. How about this? Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts also played for the Giants. How about old friend Alex Wood?
What about Matt Beatty?
Oh my goodness, Matt Beatty. He did have a little stint with the Giants. He absolutely did, man. He did. Reggie Smith. Yeah, but you rarely see the trades though. You rarely see the trades, but it's always a situation where it's fun to see these guys go at it. Kevin Brown, Jackie Robinson. Oh, he took a job with who he took the job for was Chock full of nuts, the company. That was he did. But Brian Wilson. Oh goodness, not Brian Wilson. Please,
oh man, double
please,
zeros, dude.
But that is going to do over this episode of Dodgers Dugout Live. My name is Doug McKain. You can follow me on X and Instagram at DMac_LA. You can also subscribe to the channel and comment. Let Friedman cook down below. Ross Stripling, it's another good one. Let Friedman cook down below in the comments section, and also go Tani. You got Mr. Tony Taters, Antonio to my left. You got Young Lotto, Noel, fire reels as always. Definitely check him out on Instagram. He's always bringing that fire content. And remember, nothing brings us together quite like Dodger baseball. Until next time, think blue, bleed blue. Oh, Jock Peterson at the end.